You're tuned in to the first live crypto news show of the trading day. I'm live every single day at 9 a.m. every single weekday, that is, I should say. And guys, we've got some crazy news. What is going on over at VanEck? It's sending Twitter for a loop. People cannot figure out what is going on. Guys, don't worry. This is actually not bad at all. Go ahead and settle down. This is the headline that everybody's talking about. VanEck announces closure of Bitcoin strategy ETF in strategic portfolio update. But if you look at the ticker that is actually closing, it's XBTF, okay? So let's take a look at XBTF. Let's see. I've got it typed in here on TradingView, as you can see. XBTF, VanEck, Bitcoin strategy ETF, the one that they are closing. But if you take a look at it here, it has history back to not just 2023, all the way back to 2022. Guys, this is the futures ETF for VanEck. So do not be confused. All is well, and it is all going to be okay. Nobody is closing their spot ETFs. In fact, I have some crazy news to the contrary we'll get to in just a second, but just to round it all out, I do have the tweet here in the same article from the Crypto Times, directly from the VanEck official account. Says, now that our spot Bitcoin ETF has been approved, we are closing our ETF that has invested in Bitcoin futures. So that's the same one as BitO. It's the same as BitX, right? Which is the leveraged Bitcoin futures ETF. So some of these are probably going to be closing down. You'll see more and more of these as liquidity is going to shift over, and really it doesn't have much to do with liquidity. It has much more to do with the fee potential. You know, all the fees are going to be over on the spot ETF. So I'm sure some futures ETFs will remain open. Just like in the gold market, there's futures ETFs for gold, as well as spot, as well as the miner companies kind of compiled, and there's futures on top of that. So in the ETF world, they go crazy. They go wild. They go stupid. But if you're shaking in your boots, you got your finger hovering over the sell button on Bitcoin, you know, you may need to sell because you're overexposed. If you're feeling that emotional that you're going to sell on one piece of news, you may need to rethink your allocation to Bitcoin. But I'm not selling. We'll put it that way. I'm not selling based on this news. This is business as usual, guys. This is just a major bank saying, "Hey, we can make more fees on this new ETF. It's shinier. It's better." You know, and they're closing their old one. So it makes sense to me. I'm not scared. And I hope you aren't either, guys. It's honestly kind of a good thing. So, all right, let's take a look here. To the contrary, BlackRock, maybe you've heard of it. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF hits 1 billion assets under management in a week. Okay, so these ETFs have not been a failure. That may not be completely reflected in the price charts, and I'll get to that in just a second. But wanted to jump straight on into the news. Because BlackRock is absolutely killing it. Now, Eric Balcones, who's kind of the ETF extraordinaire all through this process, kind of has come to fame in the crypto space, if you will. He's got a pretty good tweet out detailing kind of the rank sheet, if you will. So day 4 was good for one. The rolling net flows grew to 1.2 billion after the newborn 9 pulled in 914 billion on Wednesday. That would have been yesterday as the time of this recording. By far their best day yet, overwhelming the 450 billion outflows on GBTC. So that is still occurring. There's still outflows over on GBTC. We'll get into why that is in a minute. The 9 have now taken in 3 billion and traded 5.4 billion in the first 4 days. Abnormally high numbers. IBIT is now over 1 billion. That's the BlackRock iShares. FBTC close behind. That's the Fidelity one. And BitB, from Bitwise, is firmly in third place now. 5 of them are over 100 million. And as you can see here, so these are the 5 that are above 100 million. That's pretty bullish, right, to see that. And then you've got the ones leading up from the rear with, it looks like Wisdom Tree being the last with just, I guess that's 2 million. That's really low, 2.6 million. So, you know, things aren't working out over there. Wisdom Tree, not really sure exactly why that is, but maybe we'll find out more at some point. But there have been overall outflows at Grayscale, and that's that's for interesting reasons, right? Ultimately, folks just want to have their money in these alternative to grayscale ETFs. That's kind of my reading of it. Cathie Woods did this early on, right? Because there was the counterparty risk, just additional risk. There was going to be an additional regulatory question that GBTC was having to ask, that Grayscale was having to ask in order to flip into spot. And now that you can see over here, now that the discount is pretty much largely completely removed, there's not really an incentive to hold the Grayscale spot Bitcoin ETF. Even though it is now a spot Bitcoin ETF, there's no longer an incentive to do that. And so most money wants to flow into these ETFs that are managed by much bigger names. And as you can see, the rest of the market is doing the same. BlackRock disproportionately, gathering the most AUM. So that's the coverage of the spot ETFs. More than likely, this isn't going to affect your portfolio, right? Because you kind of don't care which one of these big banks do the best with Bitcoin. That's not on the radar of most Bitcoin and crypto enthusiasts. I care about it because I'm a mega nerd in this, and I wanted to bring it to the attention of some of the bros who may care about it. But ultimately, I get it if you're not into this. The most important thing is that VanEck is not canceling their spot Bitcoin ETF. They are canceling their futures ETF. So there's some articles out there that I was reading this morning that are actually saying the opposite. They are totally misunderstanding the situation, and they are reporting on it incorrectly. Let's take a look at what the charts are saying. Really quickly, just on the daily chart, you can see Bitcoin really continuing to find strength here on this uptrending bottom line of this regression trend that I have drawn, I believe, back to December 4th of last year, correct? And we have not even come close to testing this 41,200 support line here. So, that continues to be in play. In fact, we're finding support on this downtrending line of support that I've had drawn, kind of starting from these peaks, coming off of these candlestick closes here, and then going on down where this candle body from the 12th did not close below. So it's some strength. I mean, obviously it did peak down below there, and obviously it traded above it, right? So, but this is a line that I think has some significance. And now today it's the battleground, and all through yesterday it was maybe that wasn't the specific battleground for Bitcoin's price, but it's significant. Let's go down to the 4-hour, and before we do, let's take a look at the MACD here. Histogram's plateauing, right? Telling us that the bears are not wanting to give up momentum, right? But they're also not able to take out more momentum. Okay, so those MACD lines out on the daily chart are pointing down and to the right? Not the direction we want as bulls. However, price is just continuing to go sideways, right? Had a nice little jump on the 17th yesterday, right? Or on the 16th, pardon me, has retraced that, and as of this morning is continuing to retrace that, but still staying above this downtrending line of support and keeping it frosty above 42,400. So, will that change? Will it come back down and test? I'm going to give a summation here in just a few minutes. Let's go down to the 4-hour and see what's rocking with Bitcoin. We might check out Ethereum, and then I've got a couple more news headlines, and somewhere in there, we'll also go ahead and check in on the chat. We had some interesting fireworks at the beginning of the chat I want to bring to your attention for show if you're just tuning in. As you can see, as we go down to the 4-hour, this downtrending line of support does become much more significant. You can kind of see why I have it drawn. That is the battleground right now for this 4-hour candle that we're rocking out with right now. Again, I'm not expecting this line of support to be the end-all, be-all. If we lose this, as we did back here, back here, back here, back here, back here, this hasn't been extremely... If we lose it, that doesn't necessarily mean we're going lower. It doesn't mean necessarily we're going to break down 41.2, right? But it does mean, short-term weakness. Bears are continuing to kind of hold on to control, so to speak. All right, so taking a look at the midline of the Bollinger Band, you can also see that we are below that right now. So that's bearish. The Bollinger Bands on the 4-hour are constricting, right? Constricting. So when the Bollinger Bands constricted back here in earlier January 6th, it only took a bounce down to test that bottom line of the Bollinger Band, and then it sliced back through Bitcoin did, and then shot up. But that coincided with news, right? It didn't just come out of nowhere. That coincided with news. And now, you know, we need more news, right? There's really not a whole lot to it right now, guys. It's like when you have constriction, what does that mean? It means that the market's in agreement, whether albeit a pretty short-term agreement. The market is in agreement that Bitcoin should be priced at 43,300 at the high end, or 42,000, right, at the low end. That's what the market is agreeing with. When the Bollinger Bands start to expand, it's the market disagreeing with each other, right? When the Bollinger Bands here expanded, right? I'll take out this regression tool. When the Bollinger Bands expanded, the bulls were saying, we don't agree with you bears anymore. We don't agree about this price range. We actually think that Bitcoin's going higher, and so those Bollinger Bands expanded, the battlefield expanded, right, and price went up. Now the bulls were wrong about this price action moving to the upside. Ultimately, as we play it forward into the future, they were wrong because now the price has come back down, right? But probably now the bears are wrong in saying, right, that the price should be this low. But ultimately, with these consolidations in the Bollinger Bands, we can kind of say that the market is in agreement with one another. But the question is, what is the next piece of news that is going to fling the market out of agreement into disagreement, and which way will price action move as those Bollinger Bands expand? That's the question that everybody would like to know. That's the $1 million question to see if it's going to go higher, if it's going to go lower. Again, I've been saying on the 3 p.m. show with Tim that I think that price from here is probably going to see a move higher, at least to go test this midline of the Bollinger Band, right? And then from there, who knows, right? Just technically, right? Because I think that we'll see these histograms start to go ahead and wane. Although they are plateauing, they are in general waning, right? Since back here on the 15th. So I think that we'll continue to see that trend. It'll take a while, right? It could be even the end of January, early February that we see the test up here to 43.8, right at the midline of the Bollinger Band out on the daily. However, before then, we could go lower. Now, this isn't speaking about a big move. This is just technical movement, right? This is just traders speculating on just small 3-4%. What is this? Yeah, 3% price fluctuations, right? Once we get news, we'll get a movement, right? And I think that news is going to be either bearish. It's going to have something to do, with the SEC, or the Fed coming out and saying higher for longer, or something bad about the spot Ethereum ETF. One of the SEC's commissioners coming out and saying, yeah, there's not going to be any way we're going to approve that, right? A little FUD. Something that's going to move the market in one way or another. But right now, the market's in agreement that these digital assets are adequately priced, at least Bitcoin is. All right, I hope I made that clear for you all. That's a kind of what even is that? It's a trade psychology way of looking at the charts today, because to be honest with you, the indicators aren't telling us a whole lot. Tim, definitely go and watch Tim's video this morning. It's super interesting. I've already watched it because I'm a member, obviously. But go ahead and watch it. He goes much more in depth on the charts, and he's actually found a bull flash, kind of forming an argument of why major bullish Bitcoin indicator just flashed. Get ready. So go and watch that. He dropped that just a couple of minutes ago at 8:30. So he'll go much more into the charts. Guys, if you have never seen somebody look at the charts, a technical analyst, what I just did was very, very surface level, and mostly kind of interpreting the trade psychology, right? Why people are buying, why people are selling. Not so much looking at Fibonacci, not so much looking at specific support and resistance and whether or not they're being penetrated through. So go ahead and check out that video. And if you're looking at these charts and you're saying, T-Shroom, I'm seeing some patterns in there. And I've been watching some YouTube videos. I've been checking out different channels. I've even taken a trade or two on Robinhood or TD Ameritrade with some of these Bitcoin ETFs. I think I'm ready for the big leagues. If that's you, we have a link in our description for Blowfin. Go ahead and check out Blowfin, and this is where you're going to be able to put those skills to the test. You're going to be able to take leveraged positions on Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I think it's like 270 other pairs that you can actually trade on Blowfin, and you support the channel, and you also get some favorable perks when you click the link in our description. So go ahead and check that out now. It's the link in our description for Blowfin. That is our exchange partner, and it's one of the only exchanges you can trade leverage in the United States and other countries that restrict that. So for now, it is kind of an open season, and we'll be continuing to let you know how that goes. Tim is constantly in the Discord posting his position, posting his kind of leverage trades, not just where he's getting in, but also where he's putting his stop loss and things like that, and kind of his concepts of risk management. Now, T-Shrum, is this financial advice? Is this financial advice? Because I didn't know that you were a financial advisor, T-Shrum. It's not financial advice. It is education, and it is entertainment, and it is everything that you need and more. All right, let's keep moving through the headlines here. But before we do, let's go ahead and jump on into the chat and see what is rocking. We had a great comment here from William O'Leary. Said, sell everything, 60% crash incoming. Let's take a look at the charts and see where that would put us. A 60% crash from where we are today, rocking out at 42.5 on Bitcoin. I assume he's talking about Bitcoin here. He could be talking about any asset, but what did he say? 60% crash? All right, I'm going to have to zoom out. Well, I don't have to zoom out too much further. Let's see. 60% crash would put us at 16,009. Okay, 16,007. Call it 16.5. So William O'Leary thinking 1605, 16,500 is going to be where Bitcoin goes and tests next. So William O'Leary, more than likely, you are wrong. Let's just go ahead and put it that way. Let's see what else we got going on here in the chat. Blackie Chan said good morning. I really just said that. That's a lot of fun. Nancy Croy said, good morning, all you bros. Good to see you, Nancy Croy. Of course, Nancy Croy was our first live chat of 2024. Servando Estrada said, good morning. What is up, Servando? It's good to see you. Crypto Military Vet. Haven't seen this name in a little bit. Good to see a Crypto Military Vet. Take a moment for all of our veterans. Thank you so much for serving. If you think you have pride in this country, if you think that freedom is great, think a veteran, right? Get out of that comfort zone. If you see him in a Walmart, you see him in the DMV, you see him wherever you are, think a veteran. They really appreciate it. And what they've done for this country, for America, right? And for some other countries, you could argue as well, is really, really outstanding. So thank you, Crypto Military Vet, for giving us that moment to celebrate veterans. And he said, yo. So there you go. Dylan Martinez saying, sup, bros. Let's see. BitLink said, good morning, bros. Actually, BitKink is the name there. So, or BitK Inc. Could be a couple of different things there. I'm not really sure. Dylan Martinez said, seems like reoccurring thing now. Close your futures ETFs and open your spot ETFs. Absolutely. Yeah. I think there's more fees to be gathered there. I think also it's less to manage. And it's, yeah. So it's very interesting there. Just joined, have already covered the VanEck ETF. Yes, so I'll do it really quick for those of you who have just joined. The VanEck ETF. VanEck announces closure of Bitcoin Strategy ETF and strategic portfolio update. But guys, it's the futures ETF that they're closing. Okay. Whoa. The futures ETF, not the spot ETF. So the spot ETF, you can see here is kind of the ranking charts right now of how much AUM they've been able to gather. That's on this column here. So VanEck, definitely not in first place, right? But they've been able to get $91 million into their spot Bitcoin ETF. So they're not going anywhere. They're not turning around and running away. 30 million. I don't know. You can read it for yourself here. It's not zero, right? They've done well. They've definitely done better than Wisdom Tree. So ultimately, guys, it's exciting, and that nobody's closing any spot Bitcoin ETFs that I've seen. Nobody, right? It's only the futures ETFs, which have been around again. I'll go to the chart here. You can see this is the one that's closing. This is XBTF. Okay, that one is closing in 30 days. But this has been something you can trade since 2022. It's like BitO. BitO is a futures ETF, meaning what is inside the ETF. What is futures? It's not actual Bitcoin. It's the futures on top of Bitcoin. Oh, look at that. Where's Tim? All right, so let's go ahead and keep moving here. We are at 9:21. Let me get a couple other chats in here. Eric Wallen said, "Hey everyone," and Eric Wallen is my favorite bro today because he had his baby yesterday. Oh, come on. There we go. Get a little volume for the sound effect there. Congratulations, Eric. And, take this day to absolutely celebrate. He said, they are both great. I'm about to head back to the hospital myself. I assume you mean they are both great, as in your spouse and your baby, your newborn baby are great. That's awesome to hear. That is so good to hear. Congratulations, Eric. Hopefully Bitcoin will pump for you today. We'll see. RS Crypto said, smack those likes and good morning, broski. Absolutely. Thank you, RS Crypto, for helping us out here. Servando Estrada said, Servando Estrada, you got to say it right. He said, love the show. So if you're loving the show too, I can understand that because it really is a good show, It really is a good show. Well, speaking of things that are good, we've got Donald Trump here coming out. Maybe you've heard of him. Donald Trump, he's kind of this, fringe candidate here in the United States. You can interpret that word fringe however you like. Oh, what does T-Shroom really think of Donald Trump? Speculate there in the live chat, in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think that I think. Donald Trump promises to never allow central bank digital currencies if elected. So former President Donald Trump, maybe you've heard of him, joins Ron DeSantis as a critic of CBDCs, okay? I'm not sure why we've got the Santa Claus graphic here. Seems like, this is one of his NFTs. All right, I guess I get it. But he said, as your president, speaking to Americans, I will never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency, Trump said on stage, joined by crypto-friendly former candidate Vivek Ramaswamy, who recently and sadly suspended his campaign. I was kind of hoping to see Vivek have a little bit more runway there, but we will not get too political. Ultimately, guys, this is bullish, right? CBDCs, very bad, okay? We don't want to see any CBDCs because they're really bad, all right? And Donald Trump doing the right thing and obviously trying to nod to the crypto woke among us, right? How do you like that? Do you consider yourself crypto woke? The folks who are in the know in crypto, who understand the dangers, the hazards of CBDCs, we've seen how they've been used in China, how they suck in Nigeria, how they've got no adoption in Jamaica, and I think the other one is Sweden that has rolled out a CBDC, and everybody's like, no, we don't want that, bruh. Get out of here with that. Except China. China's got wide adoption, but the way that they've used it has not been favorable to the people, at least looking at it from a Western standpoint. Dylan Martinez said, in my LMAO, Trump is just trying to get anything that will help him back into power. Ha ha ha. So Dylan Martinez going ahead and sharing an opinion there on the 2024 presidential candidate race. I'm sure this won't be the last opinion that we see here in the chat on this very big moment for America. Look at this. I have a clothespin attached to my hoodie, and nobody has said anything about that in the chat. I'm just going to go ahead and put that back right there, and we're going to have some fun. All right, let's keep rocking out with it. We got about 6 minutes left, guys, and I want to bring something to your attention. I only brought one of these because they're kind of just they're not straight up shills. They're not, but they're kind of are. I only brought one of you guys these to my attention, but I wanted to bring something, just kind of bring it to your attention, which is this: Frax Finance Layer 2 Fraxtal to debut in February. Okay, so the founder has said this. Kazimine expects Fraxtal to debut with a bang, attracting at least several $100 million worth of crypto assets in the first month. Maybe he's right. Who knows? The current timeline is the first week of February. Etherscan will support it on day one with FraxScan, and a huge slew, great use of the word, slew of projects will debut soon after launch. It will surely be one of the biggest roll-up releases of the year. Okay, so a new Layer 2 coming onto the scene. Now, why am I bringing this to your attention? Because it's kind of, there's a lot of competition in ETH Layer 2 at this point, right? You've got a lot. You've got Polygon, Matic, Arbitrum, OP, Base. Coinbase's Base Layer 2 has joined the party. and then a lot of other ones. There's a lot of other ones. But now, Frax is coming in, and it's going to go ahead and join in on the fun. This comes at a time where Ethereum is also, making some strides. We've been seeing it in the news, making some strides internally, right? Without the assistance of the layer 2, kind of going ahead and taking some positive steps towards increasing the scalability of the Ethereum blockchain. So what is this all kind of leading towards? Well, if things are getting more efficient, if things are getting potentially cheaper because there's more competition entering the space, could it potentially mean that these layer 2s are maybe going to see higher valuations today than they will in the not too distant future, right? This isn't for me to say, right? There's an entire crypto market out there who's going to be kind of betting on this and investing and trading accordingly. But this is a rising thesis that I think folks need to pay attention to, right? Is that these layer 2s, while they do provide, and historically they've provided a lot of scalability to Ethereum, they've been critical for Ethereum's existence and functionality as, a layer 2 that can be built on top of, right? And that transactions can be made. In order for Ethereum to scale, it's had to have these layer 2s. My question is, with the addition of more layer 2s and the improvement to the actual layer 1 Ethereum, how much longer until legacy names like Polygon, and other layer 2s may start to see some downside, right? Just put it like that, that they may start to say, hey, look, our technology is just not able to compete with these newer layer 2s. I'm not sure. Now, here's the thing: is names like Polygon are a little more entrenched, right? Because they have bigger deals with other major chains. They have, and by deals I mean integrations. They have some staying power. And a lot of you may strongly disagree with what I have to say. From a technical standpoint, that is actually arguments that I'm extremely interested in learning about and hearing about. Because while I do research and I explore crypto all day long, literally all day long, there's only so much I can know, right? So if you disagree with what I just said, which is, I'll just put it bluntly, bearish on layer 2s, right? Layer 2s, more competition, drives price lower, the fee gathering price potential lower, right? And just in general, Ethereum going ahead and getting more efficient and more scalable in and of itself is going to further push those fees lower and lower on Ethereum. So this could potentially spell disaster for layer 2s eventually, especially if dank sharding for Ethereum actually goes ahead and gets implemented. And as we see with Dungen, right, that's been coming out that's definitely not how you pronounce that, but off the top of my head, I think it's called that over on Ethereum, this testnet upgrade. It could potentially be disastrous. So let me know, what do you think about that? Let me see if there's anybody in here kind of making comments about it. No, so far no in the chat. So if you're watching this afterwards, there was nobody here to disagree with me. They all are in complete lockstep agreement with T-Shroom. No, of course not. That's all right. But let me know, what do you guys think? Are you starting to rethink your allocation to layer 2s? Are you doubling down? Do you think that Arbitrum, because it has the most TVL now, do you think that it's going to be dominant? Or are you running away from layer 2s? Ultimately, guys, here it's a kind of a bullish day for, this guy, the founder of Frax Finance Layer 2. But who knows? Who knows what exactly is going to go down here? I'm not really sure. It's hard to say. It's a new industry, right? And we will see. So it looks like we are nearing the end of the stream here, guys. I really appreciate you tuning in. We've talked about the VanEck Bitcoin spot ETF versus the futures ETF. The futures ETF is fizzling away, right? It's going into the nether regions. Who knows where that's going? It's never coming back, right? But the spot ETF is still being heavily advertised. That's not going away. Everybody's excited about it. It's getting the thumbs up, right? So don't be afraid about that. We've also talked about Donald Trump saying that CBDCs will never be instituted under his watch. Okay, so that's good. And then we also talked about this layer 2 potential downside, potential dark cloud kind of moving over the layer 2 industry. I could be completely wrong about that, though. More scalability, more competition in this small little micro industry of crypto could actually be favorable. I don't know, but when you just kind of look at it from a traditional lens, this could spell potential downside for some of these cryptos. I would argue, especially some of the ones that haven't already been in the lead, right? So OP, would probably be one of the ones that kind of come to mind. Let me see if I can get a. I always try to end a little early, but I almost never can. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Hard pivot away from that tangent. We're going to go ahead and end the show. Guys, we're going to be live again today at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have Magic Internet Money on the show. This time I'm right. He is actually going to be on the show, and I need to make a promo graphic that'll be going out on Twitter, so make sure you go ahead and promote that. Guys, if you do not follow me on Twitter, it's right here. Look, it's floating around. Now it's over there. Now it's over there. Look how fun that is. Follow me on Twitter at tshroom. You're not going to miss out because all the fun we have here at 9 a.m. is just extended out into Twitter, and it's a lot of fun. Guys, we'll see you at 3 p.m. Have a good one. Stay hydrated. Keep your stop losses tight.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.